Yo, what's up? You listening to the Instant Grits podcast? Patton's already laughing at me. I'm Devin, CEO of Determined Athletes, and I am determined to inspire. And I think today the word inspiration needs to be the focus because we're not here to motivate, we're here to inspire. Motivation, I think, means to stimulate interest or enthusiasm for doing something.
True.
I think of the word inspire means in spirit to fill someone with the urge to do something or feel something. And today, or over this past week, um, I feel the urge to do something, and I feel like I have the ability now to do more than I thought I could, based off of the information that I've learned. We got Big Tree in here today. Groot,
Yeah,
he's
you
chilling.
don't gotta run them off.
Listen, leave me alone, man. You already know my mind is fried.
Yeah, you fried. I got you.
The reason my mind is fried is just because when you play dumb, because we're all smart people, especially in this room, and I'm gonna have Patton introduce our guest. Brilliant dude. But when it's time to be dumb, just shut up and be dumb so that you can get as much information as you can from the people that know more than you.
That's great advice.
And I have just realized that I'm about to make some moves.
Yeah.
Patton is about to make some big moves. So Big Tree is here. Lopez isn't here. We already know he's
Mufasa
like the
face.
boss, Mufasa face, Lion King. He's probably out doing some premieres over in Asia or something. But shout out to him. He's out there with his family, being the manly man that he is, painting walls, doing all that type of stuff, raising his 14 girls. So shout out to him and his family. He's gonna be on here soon. What's up, Lopez? Patton, if you could, people already know the point of this podcast. Everything starts with yourself. It's an accountability podcast. It's no more excuses if we don't know something. We need to go and find the answers. And that's why I've been stressing with the word inspire today. So, because I feel inspired and I feel fortunate enough to be in this room today. So, without further ado, Patrickless, Sir Patrick's, Tricks is for Kids, Patrick's.
No Dice, Mr. No Dice. That's
Mr.
the only
No
one
Dice.
I really like, though. So,
Mr. No Dice, if you can introduce our guest, that'd be fantastic because this might be the best one. I was just having a conversation about credit and stuff today.
Yeah.
I know 1% of information about it.
Yeah.
But the information that you've given me, people are just like, "Wow, really?" I'm like, "How do you think I feel when I just found this out?"
Yeah, man. How you think I feel
The
when
power
I
of
found out, man?
financial literacy.
Yeah.
It gets swept under the rug when you're in your teens sometimes, and when at least I'm speaking for me in my teens, 20s. I was scared of credit. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the power of actually knowing it because it wasn't taught in our schools, and I wasn't surrounded by it.
Man, listen, I say all the time, people in our age group that 30 to 40 years, I guess specifically, we don't find out about credit until we get to college, and when we find out about it,
Bad experience.
it's because they sit in the cafeteria and they sit by the the gym and they give you all these pamphlets and say, oh, you qualify for $900, $1,000, and you like, what? You in college, you thinking, man, listen, I'm hungry tomorrow. You telling me you gonna give me $1,000, and then they give you this credit card. And I remember my first experience. That's exactly what happened to me. I got a credit card. I won't mention the company, but I got a credit card. Went straight to the mall. And my thing was curiosity. Like, I didn't understand it or nothing like that. It was just straight curiosity. I'm like, you mean to tell me all I gotta do is sign my name in cursive and whatever I
Shout out to cursive.
shout out to cursive. Right, they need to bring that back in school.
But they got signed contracts. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to see if it was gonna work. And I remember, I could tell you, I bought a pair of Guess jeans and a pair of Timberlands. I was like, I ain't gonna overdo it. I just want to see if this is gonna work. And my man was like, okay, you paying cash or credit? I gave him the card. He was like, okay. This little thing. Zoop, zoop, zoop. All right, sign right here. I'm like, hold up. No, this can't. And he handed me the bag. He was like, all right, have a good day, sir.
That's it.
And I'm like, yo, I'm about to do this like 20 times. Me and my girl getting stuff we doing. But about a month later, a letter came to the house, and I ain't get mail at that time other than, the colleges and, all that stuff. Letter came in the mail. Oh, thank you. We appreciate your business, but you owe us. I'm like, huh? What? Oh, you what? Wait, what you mean? I'm going to take this stuff back, man. But that was, for a lot of us, and the story might not be exactly the same, but that's our introduction to credit and not really understanding that, had I known what I know now, I would have had almost man, close to like 25, 30 years of a positive credit history that, I'd be in a lot better financial position than I am today. So,
Well, that's your introduction into credit.
yeah.
This week or month has been my introduction into some of the end games of financial literacy.
Yeah.
Started from the men's conference, but now it's blossomed over to this specific information. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we're going to
Pat,
get into that. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce.
because my mind is fried. I'm
I
done.
know you done.
Y'all can't see my disposition. I have my head in my hands,
He
and I'm
is
just
totally cooked. And guess
am.
what? I understand, because when I get it, that's how I am. You guys just
Because the
don't
talk
hear
that
me.
we had before, to introduce him, because when we was talking off air,
Yeah.
I'm just listening to this dude, and it's just like,
Well, we're going to share it.
we can make moves. What was the saying you said? You just said it. You said, "Oh, Pat, what did he just say?"
Which one?
I don't know.
I mean,
He said so much, but he was just talking about America is the land of opportunity. If what? What'd you say?
America is the land of opportunity if you know how to take advantage of the opportunities that are basically presented in front of you.
See?
Yeah.
You
So
know?
yeah,
Introduce this dude, bro.
Yeah, I'll introduce him. So in the studio with us today, I'm very blessed, super blessed, that he is actually related to me. My uncle played a major part in my development and in my life, and still a great uncle mentor to me. But he is very, very, very smart, very brilliant man as it comes to finances and the inner workings, as you're about to hear, because we're going to ask him some tough questions and share this stuff with you. I'm going to let him talk. I'm going to move out the way. Mr. Derrick Carter.
Yeah, we don't have no artificial claps yet.
We ain't got ain't no clap. Yeah, the clap.
Is the keyboard plugged in?
Well, that's about it.
It is, but it ain't no
sound?
clap. What's going on, Unc?
What's going on, young fellas?
Oh man.
Listen, Dev is fried. I'm not fried, but my wheels are probably turning at a rate that's like close to headache worthy. So,
Well, that's good, man. That's where it starts. Unfortunately, the game, as they say, is to be told and not sold.
That's true.
So
I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start off light, because Dev still need a couple. He still need a couple minutes to get himself together.
My chest hurts.
But we gonna start off with something really simple. That's is duplicatable, is easy to do. Because we were talking about one of the other shows. We were talking about like what do we need to do first within our community.
Can you talking to the mic, please?
I got it, man. I got it. I'm the one I got it. What do we need to do first to like address some of the issues that all of the issues that we're having in our community? And my thing was to try to go and kind of catch fireflies at night. It's like that'll have everybody all over the place. There's no unified push. There's not one single attack on one thing. And for me and my thinking, the first thing is to get a hold of the economic disparities that has been plaguing our community forever. So with that, I'm saying, what are the simple fashion? We don't even have to get into detail. We can get there as we build. But what are the three things? We'll start off with something small. What are the three things that every person should know regarding their own financial health in terms of financial literacy?
I would probably start with understanding credit.
Just flat out, just understanding how the credit game is.
Understanding the credit game.
Mm-hmm.
GAME, it's a game. I was blessed. I have two parents. Both my parents are deceased, but my dad. It was 8 of us, 8 kids, husband and wife, 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, North Philadelphia. My dad bought a brand new car every 2 to 3 years.
Oh, sheesh.
His favorite place to shop for men's clothes was Boyd's. He had every major credit card that you could think of. He could literally just walk in anywhere and just with a signature and just walk out. And when I looked at him and looked at how he handled his business, how well he understood, his credit and what it meant for him, as a husband, as a father, I'm inspired by that. And that's, my focus now. I had some ups and downs, but we're doing better now, and I'm trying to improve on that. We're working on some other things personally and professionally. And I always try and share whether it be with Tim or some other nephews, whoever we're talking, just that aggregation, putting, coming together, unity, whether it be as a family, whether it be as we as black people or black men, in general.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we just took it from, okay, society ills, like the brothers that are, we just had that recent shooting or shootout with the cops and the other situation. Imagine if we were teaching a curriculum to at-risk or incarcerated men or youth that they qualify for a program where we would teach them marketable skills about their credit, about being an entrepreneur, creating a business for themselves. Because again, we all know once you become a felon, 3 strikes,
You're done.
you're hard to get a job.
How come I'm going to say this, how come it seems like black people, or me specifically, how come we're scared of the word credit and always run to debit? Like I was talking to a basketball player in the gym, and I was saying, yo, man, my mind is blown this week from just learning about credit. First thing he said, and we was joking about it, he was laughing. He wasn't minimizing it. He just said, look, I don't know nothing about no credit. I only do debit. I ain't messing with no credit. Like, why are we all like that? Even that's my mindset. I'm still scared to mess with that word. Why am I so ignorant?
We're brainwashed, man.
Where did this even come from? Because we've seen people misuse it so long?
Well, you've seen people misuse it, but again, if you know history and if you study history, everything is in plain sight, first and foremost. So Bible says there's nothing new under the sun.
Mm.
So when we were brought here as slaves, there were insurance companies, bartering, all that stuff. I mean, it's been going on, but they just took it and they monetized it. All these major universities, that are well known, everybody knows about them. Harvard, Yale, Brown, all of them were built on the backs of African Americans or Africans that were brought to America, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So you're leveraging people. You can leverage anything if you understand it. So if I was trying to lift up this piano, but I had a broken arm, if I had 5 other people with me, we could easily do what? We could lift it and move it wherever we wanted to go. That's what leverage is. I want to make the process easy, not difficult. I know I got to do it, but if I do it in the most easiest manner possible, I'm better off for it. If I do it the hard way, everything is a struggle for me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a house. Okay, well, but I'm sorry, Mr. Adams, we're going to need 20% down. Really? Why is that? Well, actually, your credit is not the best. So if I know going in, a shelter is a necessity for me.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the best way to do that? Because you have people say, well, a house is a liability. And in theory, it is. Because if I have to use a job to pay for it, and I'm not using assets, in other words, let's say you had 3 apartment buildings, Devin, 4-unit apartments, $1,000 rent for all 4 units. That's $4,000 times 3. So that's $12,000 in income, cash flow that's coming to your pocket. Now you could go out into the Montgomery County or Northern Liberties or wherever and get a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 home, but who's actually paying the mortgage now?
Yeah, those.
The tenants,
Yeah.
That's leverage.
Mm-hmm.
So is that why we don't understand it? Because things, like I said, I'm an example guy. That example right there, if I'd have heard that when I was super young, would have just changed my whole mindset for the rest of my life.
Correct.
Of how I need to approach this whole game. How come debit is so much easier? When people say, okay, debit, boom, they swipe, they see the money leave. What is your definition of credit? So that I can be able to explain it to maybe like a 4th or 5th grader. And they say, yo, Mom's talking about we got credit card, dad, and they hear, like, what is credit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the simplest way I can put it, credit is a lot like having a good name.
Okay, because I'm just thinking like the bank gives you a card, makes you, here, take this money.
So based on your reputation,
okay,
with determined athletes.
Yes.
In the time in which it's been in its inception to now.
Mm-hmm.
Your successes, your accolades, your ups and downs, you've learned from it, you've improved upon it. That's a brand. That's your good name.
Mm-hmm.
So now when people Google search you or whatever, they can see a bio on, okay, who's this Devin Adams cat? What has he done, in the black community? What has he done for at-risk youth.
Haven't done enough, but yeah, go ahead. That's what we're trying to do.
But well, it's it's a drop in the bucket. Some people are, we, as they say, we talk about it, but we're not being about it.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Don't shortchange yourself. If you in the game, you in the game.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
So
they doing all that, looking
right.
stuff up.
So your good name is is what credit is about. So being able to walk into a place, say you're a parent, you got a son, your son's going away to college. Like I said, we were just talking earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well look, Dev Jr., you're going to need an apartment. You're young, you don't got no job or whatever. Me and your mom, okay, we're going to co-sign, get an apartment for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because my credit is so good, it's nothing but a signature for me.
Yeah.
And you're done. But if my credit is bad,
co-sign ain't gonna carry no weight.
Carries no weight, and it doesn't get approved. Now you got to dig in your pocket. So now that debit is cash.
Yeah.
So when you understand credit, the person who understands credit understands leverage.
Mm-hmm.
You're either leveraging or you're being leveraged.
The person that understands credit understands leverage.
Mm-hmm.
And you're either utilizing leverage or
being leveraged.
Or being leveraged. What do you mean?
So Henry Ford had a saying, I would rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I got 100 people helping me in a project, I achieve my goal with minimal or no effort on my part.
Mm-hmm.
That's leverage.
I'm mad. Patton, I'm mad.
I knew that. I was telling you that.
I'm mad because our communities, we don't know this, or we haven't been exposed to it early enough, or
I mean, like,
what is it?
Like Uncle was saying, like it's in plain sight. I think we're conditioned not to look for it. So the whole thing about debit is we, especially as in the black community, risk or anything that we don't know about that's foreign to us, that's like taboo.
Okay.
Debit, I know I work these hours. I know this money is gonna be there. I know I could pull that out. Credit, that's scary to me because I don't understand it. They're gonna be calling me. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that. I'm not gonna be able to.
Just saw a quote saying something about, and I think you probably know it or something, talking about as long as you work that 9 to 5, you're never gonna be able to.
Never.
Correct.
You're never gonna be able to do anything. Bring no passive revenue streams, no other projects.
I mean, you guys, you're familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, right?
Yeah.
you got the quadrant. So you're an employee.
Say the name one more time.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay, guys, y'all need to remember that. Okay.
So you're an employee. You're either a business owner or self-employed. You're an investor or you're an entrepreneur. So when you study that and you look at that concept, when I'm an employee, I trade time for dollars. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I punch the clock. Sometimes it punches back and it knocks us out. We get our check. Oh man, I'm short this month. I can't pay or this week. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. If I'm a business owner or I'm self-employed, I have a business, yes, but if I'm not there in the business, actively doing the business, I don't make any money. The moment I step outside of that business without a system, I'm not making any money.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go over on as an investor. Investor is a person who has, I invest in the stock market or exchange traded funds, what have you, where I'm getting a capital gain. Mm-hmm. Even on capital gains, I still have to pay what? Tax.
What's the capital gain?
So in other words, I invest in Devon Corp. Okay. Devon Corp is $100 a share.
You're doing a good job with these names. Devon Jr. over there chilling at Devon Corp. Go ahead.
So Devon Corp is the stock. Currently, it's trading at $100 a share.
Okay.
Or say $1 a share. Okay, so maybe you're a penny stock. You start out small, you're a penny stock. But you partner with Tim Corp and Lopez Inc.
Mm-hmm.
You guys form a coalition, a partnership, a joint venture. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
That's what. That's what Dave Lopez. He looks like Mufasa.
Okay, shout out to Lopez. So in that instance, now the stock market is driven on one thing and one thing only: information.
Mm-hmm.
Timely information moves the market, up or down.
Mm-hmm.
When you understand how information moves and how it flows, when it comes to investing in the market, now you can position yourself. And again, you're trying to create leverage, but I'm also trying to minimize my exposure, my risk.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a saying that people are motivated by two things. We're motivated by the fear of loss and the possibility of gain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this whole thing for financial literacy, rule number one is understanding the credit game. Not even necessarily all the bad parts, but how it can
Actually,
be beneficial.
there's tremendous benefits
right?
in credit.
Yeah.
For example, again, going back, if you're a W-2 employee, the tax laws.
W-2 employee means you have a 9 to 5. You have a job.
9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Okay.
I work for somebody. They pay me a salary or they pay me whatever.
Okay.
Boom, boom. I file my taxes, 1040 easy or 1040 long.
Got you.
No real deductions.
Yeah.
However, when you're a business owner, the tax laws, that's the number. That would be number 2 for me. Understanding credit and understanding the tax laws. The tax laws are actually written for, not for the rich, but for people that are in business.
Wait, didn't you say
in business?
Yeah, and Jesus, you just said something else earlier, talking about how these laws aren't written for.
They're not written for W-2 employees.
They're not written for W-2 employees in this
FICA,
case.
You got to pay this. You got to pay that. You got a 401k, 403b.
W-2 employee means 9 to 5.
9 to 5.
It's not written for somebody with a standard salary job.
Correct.
These tax laws, and they're more built towards people with businesses. You said correct?
Everything that you've been taught as far as money, go to school, get a good education, get a job. That's a drone. Now, don't get me wrong.
Industrial. That's way back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Do we need that in terms of moving the needle and moving the economy forward? Yes. But we still should also be on the path of owning a business, even if it's a side hustle.
Right.
I cut grass. I've got I cut grass during the week and on the weekends.
Sure.
Yeah.
Me and my son, Dev Jr. And eventually, I start teaching him different aspects about the business. Self-employed IRA, what have you, or they call it SEP IRAs.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting deep now.
So now I can turn the business over to him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building up the foundational pieces of the business, growing my market share, my brand. People know who I am. They know I do quality work. I'm on time. I'm punctual. I give them more than really what they ask for.
You know what? You've done a good job because you framed this really well. Framing is important to me.
Okay.
And the fact now, I used to be scared of credit. But after talking to Tim, Bill, you're here now. I'm excited to learn more about credit because now I can see how it can benefit me, benefit the people that I'm trying to help, benefit the projects that we want to do. Tax laws now, I'm back into infancy stage. When I see tax laws on my computer right now, I'm worried about it. I'm like, what is that? I don't want to know about it. What are some of the benefits of knowing some of these things?
Well, again,
because I'm nervous about tax laws now.
In our community, in the black community,
I'm being black right now.
No.
Tax laws. No.
So when we're fearful, fear, is there's an acronym: false evidence that appears real.
Mm-hmm.
So when I don't understand something, or I'm devoid of it, or I'm, for lack of a better word, ignorant of it, ignorance costs.
Jeez, you never lie.
Ignorance.
There's a price to pay for ignorance. And, there are folk, I'm not going to mention the name or the color, that's what they thrive on. They want us to be ignorant to the fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact.
I
So
can
it's a
read
fact.
between the lines.
So it's a known entity.
What are you talking about?
So I want you to be ignorant of it. So if you don't participate, there's more left for me.
Right.
Okay. Tax laws. Like that it sounds, credit used to be much.
I'm going to ask. I mean, Uncle could probably do it. Like, we're going to bring you back anyway. But
this is the first one. He said credit, right?
Yeah.
Know about your credit. Second
tax
thing,
laws.
tax laws.
This tax law that he told me about November. I was sitting at my desk, stressing like everybody else do at about 11 o'clock. And he started telling me about this tax law.
Okay, so this is good. This is an
I'm going
example.
to ask him to explain it to you guys because, see, we don't even know that this stuff is out here. Like,
no, we don't.
As a saying that goes, some people don't even know a game is being played. Some people are playing it. Some people are just watching it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know that.
No, we don't know.
Right. We're watching stuff, media outlets driving information. Like we were saying, we watching stuff and, we have no concept of how to get on the inside. But the code you gave me, that tax law that you gave me, about the that was associated with Kennedy.
Okay.
Can you explain that one real quick? Because
Um,
I know people don't even know that one is even out there.
Well, I can't remember all the details from it, but just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I'm basically a financial services professional. I do insurance, retirement planning. That's probably my specialty, where we help people focus on what we call tax-free retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you have people that work regular 9 to 5 jobs, as Devin stated, where they have a 401k, a 403b. All those are tax laws, by the way. That's a tax code. 401k is a tax code. 403b is a tax code. 457 is a tax code. Thrift savings, if you work for the government or for the post office, it's a tax code. So when you see how their money is taxed, so they put your money into what? Mutual funds. Who manages your money if you have a mutual fund?
Not you.
A mutual fund manager.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we know about the market? You ever been on the roller coaster, Devin? Volatility.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a weak stomach, what does volatility do you if you have a weak stomach?
Make you sick.
You throw up, make you sick.
Bye-bye.
So financially, you're putting your money into an entity or into a vehicle that, number one, has high volatility. Number two, has fees. Fees is money that's being bled from you that you know nothing about.
Yo, I'm getting so mad, man.
There's 17 different fees associated with your 401k, 403b, 457 that is being bled from you month after month, year after year, that you know nothing about.
Why do they allow this to happen?
Because this is America.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but that's true. I mean, it goes with everything that we saying, man.
It's about transference of wealth.
Yeah.
So we create unequal structures for a desired result.
So I sign up for.
Wait a minute. One more time.
Yeah, say it again.
We create
unequal structures to give us a desired result.
That's ugly.
So it's like you running a gauntlet. You got hurdles you got to get over, whereas the other guy has
Smooth
a straight path.
Smooth sailing.
You got landmines, you got moats, you got alligators that you got to get through.
And it's because you said the government caters a little bit more easily to the entrepreneur and the business owner as opposed to that one with the
Why do you think Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world? Because he don't pay no taxes.
Yeah, I saw some articles coming out, and people were mad that he's not paying any taxes on all the money he's making. But he knows how to play the game.
Remember what I said to you earlier? It's about the structure.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that.
Of his business.
Like everybody's favorite fries, McDonald's.
McDonald's is in the real estate business. They're not in the hamburger business. Ray Kroc was he was the mastermind with two other guys, but he had a vision. So you mean I can lease land to you, build a franchise, and then you pay me money not only for the land, but also for the franchise. So I'm double dipping.
Double dipping.
So McDonald's don't pay no taxes, bro.
No. And they're one of the greatest real estate holders in the world.
All time. Because they understand tax laws, tax code.
They understand land trusts. That's a whole nother, you getting into, a whole lot of stuff.
So you're saying with this information that I have, let's just say I knew a lot of this tax law stuff, I can go into some of these banks or set up stuff, and when they try to do something on, like get off on, like try to play me, I'm like, oh no, you can't do that because and they got to be like, oh yeah, you right. They just they're not gonna even mention none of this.
Why would they?
I don't know. That's like something they should do. It's nice.
That would be nice. To give you an example. There are laws, or actually there are investments that are available to you. Do you know that the government pays taxes?
What?
The government pays rent.
Here it comes. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. No, y'all gotta get ready for this one. Listen, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I was sitting at my desk just mad just for being there. I get a call from my uncle, and he was like, listen, it's a tax code you need to look up. I'm like, man, what is he talking about? I'm like, but it being him, I ain't gonna fraud. I'm like, all right, let me look. I looked on Google, and then it was, go ahead.
So if all these government facilities, whether it be for the IRS, whether it be for the White House, State Department, all of them pay rent. Do you know that there's a real estate investment trust that you can invest in and get paid from the government?
what are you talking about?
Yeah, run it back.
Okay.
Run it back.
Like,
Okay.
They call them federal rent checks.
I'm crying
Yes.
because it's just like, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
They call them
the
federal
basic.
rent
The
checks.
basis of it is called a federal rent check. So again, all government entities, any government building, IRS, FBI,
The Capitol
CIA,
building, the White House.
anything that's related to the government, Social Security, all those buildings, they pay rent. That rent goes into a general fund. If you invest in that fund through the form of a real estate investment trust, which is what it is, because it is real estate, you can receive a dividend for holding that REIT and use that as retirement income. Now, I'm going to really hurt your feelings. I'm sorry, but you got me started.
Smack 'em.
So, a lot of us, we know about traditional IRAs, right?
Some people don't. What is that?
So, a traditional IRA is an individual retirement account
Got you.
where
I
money
hear
is
that
coming.
associated with Roth.
Well, I'm going to get to
Roth.
that.
Okay.
I'm going to really hurt your feelings on that. Sorry. So, traditional IRA is pre-tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So, the theory that they try and put out there is that that's the best way for you to go.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, Devin, it's not, or Tim, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Podcast, folk
Audience.
is not.
Yeah.
Audience is not. Because if you're 25 or 35 or 45 years old, do you think your tax burden is going to be higher as you get closer to 65 or 70 than it is when you're 25 or 35?
Should be.
It will be.
Yeah.
That's why they call it a deferred compensation plan.
Oh, okay.
So they defer your tax bill.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
you have no kids now, right, Dev? So now you meet the woman of your dreams.
Kidless.
Yeah.
You have a child, son
Mhm.
or daughter.
Yeah.
They're little now, but over time, what's going to happen to that child?
Yeah.
They're gonna- That's what when you defer something, it grows over time.
So it's a bad thing to defer some of these things sometimes because they're going to accumulate.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
They're gonna grow.
So,
Mhm.
for example, as an example, would you rather pay money on seed, or would you rather pay taxes on the harvest? If you were an apple farmer, right?
Mhm.
You went to Tim and you paid $500 for apple seeds, but the harvest that you were going to return was $5 million. Which would you rather pay taxes on?
The seed,
Why?
because it's small right now. I don't want to pay taxes on $5 million.
Because it's gonna be more. It's gonna eat up too much of the $5 million.
Right. That's the point. So when you're investing, if you do have a traditional job, you want to put your money where I can avoid or mitigate my tax burden. The number one reason why people fail in retirement is because of taxes. Taxes are eating up more of what you make and more of what you are attempting to keep.
This is so naive of me to say, but that's just mean. It's like people work hard,
Yeah,
and
that's
they
nice.
don't deserve to have a lot of this
They
stuff.
don't.
And they're ignorant to it. They might not even know some of this stuff. Like I don't know anything about tax law, so
Mhm.
most of this would just go right over my head unless I had somebody really look at a breaks and no, hold up now,
I mean, that's the importance of the education.
Yeah.
Once we find out and get this information, we got to share. But we don't like sharing information sometimes, and that's, to me, that's another one of the problems. I mean, we can go into that
Selfish.
at another time, but that's another one of the problems in our community. Like when we find out something that could liberate more than half of us,
Mm-hmm.
I want to hold on to it because I want the one up on everybody else, which is it's really doing us a disservice.
It's doing us a disservice, and at the end of the day, everybody's not going to execute.
Yep,
That's what I
true.
tell people all the time.
That's true.
If I know anything, I tell anybody everything or anything because I know 95% of them ain't gonna do nothing with the info.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going.
But it ain't on you for not sharing it with
Oh,
us.
no.
It's like
I don't
Right.
hate. I'll give you anything you need. But
yeah. I
if
told
you're
you.
gonna
but
execute on that, I mean, it
Right.
might not be. So
Mm-hmm.
so credit. I feel super
Credit
armed,
one.
and I'm so Number one is credit, and like I said, selfishly, speaking on my behalf, I feel extremely comfortable moving forward with some of the things that we said we're going to move forward with based off of this new information that's been presented to me. It's been out there, but it's new to me
Mhm.
based off of you guys breaking stuff down. So thank you for that. So I feel really comfortable with that. These tax laws, I feel like I need to invest. Remember, you got to invest in yourself first before you invest in other things. So I feel like I need to invest in some type of education seminar or have you on here weekly tackling different laws or something like that, which we can talk about later with my Determined to Inspire program. But yeah, I feel better about tax laws too. What's the third? Because it's a trillion.
Yeah,
I know you're a wealth of it, but credit, that's a broad stroke of information.
Well, I mean, foundationally, credit is going to allow you. Credit basically gives you options.
Okay, credit gives you options.
So you know,
don't run from credit. It gives you options. It's leveraging.
Years ago, 60s, 70s, many of your parents or grandparents, they're well aware of this. When they came back from the war, you probably heard the term redlining.
Yeah, I have.
Redlining is a term where people were systematically kept in certain parts of major metropolises, whether it be Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, et cetera, Watts, in California, and then property values were, basically, driven down.
Oh my sheesh, that's crazy. Okay.
So if you live, well, even in Detroit has 8 Mile, that wall. If you were on this side of 8 Mile, your house is worth exponentially more. If you were inside of 8 Mile and you were African, you look like us.
Strategically done.
Yeah.
Intentions. Man.
On purpose.
I just found out a couple years ago, and I didn't know that when African Americans move into any property, the property value goes down.
Like that still looms over us.
I didn't know that. Am I right in that information? Like just because of the color of your skin, the property value goes down.
Yeah, that's another.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I'm in the insurance industry, so even if you're looking for homeowners or auto insurance, sometimes, what's the first thing they ask you? Where do you live? What's your zip code? Because they have empirical statistical data from years and years and decades, and I can see what's going on with the area and the marketplace and say, okay, higher probability of crime, this, that, and the third. Okay, well, your rates are going to be higher. Why? Because they perceive there's going to a strong probability that there's going to be a risk or an occurrence that's going to happen.
Yeah,
they're going to have to pay out on that claim. So they get their money from you up front by charging you a higher rate.
Got you. Okay. All right. So we got credit, number one, tax laws, number two. What's our third and final one? Under your umbrella, what you think might be important for the common people like me to realize this is really important. Now I need to know, set my financial literacy.
It's just a kickoff. Yeah.
Well, for me, it would be entrepreneurship. Whatever platform
entrepreneurship
you
say. You like
even if it's a full-time business, even if it's a part-time business. Again, the tax laws are written for business owners. So you could have a home, designate a particular room in your home, the square footage of it, and write it off on your taxes. Your utilities that you use, whether it be for Wi-Fi or internet, phone, light, whatever, a portion of that can be written off in your taxes when you have a home-based business. So now the taxes that you would normally pay when you're W-2, you can recoup that money through your home-based business.
I work from my house.
Correct.
I can write some of that stuff off.
Yes. Now again, you're going to need.
You looked at me straight.
You're going to need somebody who's qualified, who's competent. That's a CPA.
Sure. Okay.
Not an accountant.
CPA.
A CPA is a certified. When you work on my Lexus, you need to be a certified mechanic, not somebody who can change oil, can unscrew an oil, nut and drain my oil. I need you to be certified, so you know my car inside and out. Okay. A CPA will be able to sit down with you, Devin or Tim, and based on your situation and where you are, if they're good, their job is to help mitigate your tax burden. Okay, Devin, we can accomplish this, but we've got to do it under this platform or this episode. Okay, so how do we structure that? No problem. That's what I do. This is how we're going to do it. Now you can do your business entities through that, and then we can write that off or a percentage of that off on your taxes, and you can recover that.
Okay.
So even if you are a business owner and you you form a business entity, even if you don't make any money, the fact that you attempted to make money, you can actually write off a portion of that in your tax. So you can make no money that year and still write off, what you would have probably, oh, well, my gas,
Oh, I know.
or my
That
this,
happened
or
to
my
me.
that.
Yeah.
I can write that off.
I was bringing in
My
nothing in the
mileage.
beginning. Yeah, but I was still writing stuff off, and yeah.
So now you're getting what they call itemized deductions.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what, in other words, you're creating a paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
So, now you can say, okay, like I was saying before, we were talking before, if I have personal credit or personal credit cards, typically, if you've got average to or below average, or you got average to above average credit, you're paying a certain APR, annual percentage rate,
Mm-hmm.
for your
Right.
credit or credit usage. Now, if you have business credit, you can roll over $5,000 in personal credit card debt into your business, and now that drops considerably because you're paying back less than what you would have if you left it over on your personal.
No, we ain't even gonna do that. Can you so to summarize the three things that you think are important, and so that people really, really understand that one? Because I know we talking, Kelly, because we talk about it all the time, and we've been talking about it. So for people to understand that third link, entrepreneurship, like how you set it up, you stacked it. Okay, understand, learn about credit in general.
So,
After that, you hit the tax laws. After that, entrepreneurship. So now the link is from so making sure that your personal credit is good, and now can you explain like the link to how you get to that business credit so that you become a sound financial entity all of your own?
okay, so I'll give you a general example. I don't really want to use the bank or the entity, but
Right.
I'll throw them out for this example.
Okay.
Navy Federal
Mm-hmm.
Is a good example. So I have a Navy Federal. I'm a former Navy, whatever. It is what it is. But I served 6 years. But anyway, I have an account with Navy Federal business. Personal checking and savings. I also have a personal credit card with Navy Federal. There's some business initiatives and objectives that I'm looking to accomplish, and I was looking to leverage my credit in order to do so. So the credit limit that I had, in order for me to do that and keep my credit utilization down, it was better for me to open up a business credit card, because now I'm not concerned about the utilization of the credit card for that initiative. So I contacted them. They gave me all the details, what I needed to do. Okay, Mr. Carter, do you have an LLC? I do. Okay, you need an EIN number. So you get that through the IRS. Contact the IRS, create an entity, attach it to your LLC. You need articles of incorporation.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's a validation letter. It's called for your business or your business entity. Now you can go into Navy Federal and open up a business line of credit and also potentially a business credit card. So now you can aggregate. So let's say they gave you 35. Not saying they would, but let's say they gave you 35,000 on a credit card, 35,000 on a line of credit. So when you aggregate that, that's what, 70,000.
Mm-hmm.
Someone contacts determined athletes and says, "Hey, you know what? We have a commercial building, mixed use. You could probably share it, utilize it for yourself for office space, but also be able to rent it out and help pay down debt service on it for your initiatives. But you're going to need about 35,000 to get into the property. I don't have to go to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to qualify for the mortgage. Maybe it's through a special program because I am a 501c3. So I just need to come up with 35,000 in capital, and we can basically get this thing done and go to closing. I can move my business entity, determine athletes, over to this location. Have 3 or 4 other spaces or suites within this building, and I can rent them out to other businesses or other entrepreneurs and pay down my debt service. Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah,
So in that scenario, again,
yeah, you could do that.
everything I just told you, it keeps going back to that same word, leverage.
Mm-hmm.
So again, as we were talking, Deb, you got the LLC for determined athletes. It would be nice to have a brick and mortar that you could bring, young men to, take them through a orientation process, whatever, get them up to speed, understand where they are, what their goals are, what they need, where they are financially, with their home life situation, whatever it is, through a survey. So you create a survey form. Boom, boom, boom. What do you need help with? Okay. Do you want to go to college? Okay. What are your options? Mom or dad. Okay. Could you qualify for a loan? Okay. What about grants? What about this, et cetera, et cetera? Okay. Now, once I have all your information in a dossier, now I can plug you into different resources, whether it be debt. I'm gonna give a plug for them. It's called Debt Free Scholars LLC.com. Another one is called Scholly. It was actually created by a young man. He's right here in the Philadelphia area. I think he went to either University of Penn or Drexel. He was on Shark Tank.
Mm-hmm.
He created an app that basically pulls together resources for individuals that want to go to college.
Yeah, I saw that.
Grant money and what have you that you don't have to pay back.
Shout out to Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So there's, even for that, there's money. There's money out there. Yes, to go to college. College is expensive, but it's also one of the greatest rackets because of the money.
That's true.
You're on there the first year, you live on campus. Second or third year, where you living at? Off campus.
Yeah.
What are all these colleges and universities here in the area doing? They're buying up real estate, which comes right back to what we was talking before.
You don't pay taxes on it
as an entity.
God.
So my nephew, his cousin, went to Temple University, my alma mater too. Shout out to Temple. They were living in a home, a rental property in North Philadelphia, and his parents was paying $1/4 of $3,200 for him to live in this house with 3 other individuals. So that means they were getting $3,200 in rent for a property in North Philadelphia near Temple University.
No dice.
When that's probably what, 400, maybe 500 at best.
Yeah.
In North Philly.
Yeah.
So you talk about cash flow. Now that a lot of that money they're getting, they're not paying taxes on it. I'm sorry.
That's the ugly truth, man.
It's the ugly truth.
That's
what we talk about when you talk about credit. If you understand that, okay, if I protect my credit, again, your credit is your name, your good name. If I'm a good man, oh yeah, Devin, that's a good brother, man. Yeah, that's your name. That's your credit. That's your street cred, credibility. Okay? Now I build off of that. Okay, if I know that, and I understand that everything in this life to some degree is going to require assets, money, or credit, then I should build and strengthen that, just like I do with my body. I work out. I eat right. I exercise. I exercise my credit muscles to get them what? Bigger and stronger. Now I can leverage my personal credit and apply for and get business credit. That has nothing to do with my EIN number or my social security number.
Okay, look. I'm going to challenge somebody to share this with one person.
Yeah.
Just because this was the total cliche picture of the tip of the iceberg. On the surface, you see just a little piece of the iceberg, but underneath it, that when that surface breaks under the water, is just so much wealth, so much more iceberg there that we can't see. And like I said, this was just the tip of the iceberg. I might just be like 5 or 10 steps down, walking down to the surface. Patton is probably at the surface and the water, and then his uncle is the iceberg. You got to share this. It should stimulate thought, and it should stimulate you wanting to know more about this. We're gonna have him on here again. We already are all in a partnership already because we all have the same mindset with accountability, but also education. So I'm quiet and my mind is. Yeah, I've seen the emoji with that. The brain just like wow. That's how I am right now. But I'm happy to know it, and I feel excited about the future of everything that we're trying to get accomplished in this room. And now, with the information, like I said, now it's just time to execute. We have the information. I have enough knowledge now to make moves. So now it's up to me to do it. I can't run from stuff I don't understand because I understand it now.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have resources to answer questions if I have a question because they know more about it than I do. Like I said, you can be an expert at anything if you know more about it than somebody else. That's just my mindset about it. So, man, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, I appreciate you, bro.
We might do some question and answer sessions later on down the road when we get some other stuff established. But like I said, credit, tax laws, entrepreneurship, and everything is geared towards that when it comes to leveraging and businesses. And like, yo, we got to go, man. It's time to make moves. So make moves, move markets. You already know my sayings. Spread this one. Go vote, rank this one. This is huge. This is needed information. So, Pat, you can take us out, Pat.
Yeah, no, I ditto to everything you just said. I think
that's why we sound so tired because
it's
the mental ninja ASS whooping I just received. My mind is not even mental gymnastics. I just got beat up mentally.
That's true.
But I'm gonna heal up stronger.
They say no, you'll be fine. They say once your brain stretches, it can never go back to its original form.
Oh, sheesh.
It's like, guys, we really just gotta. When you get a wealth of information like this, it behooves you. I'll use that word. It behooves you to take it a step further. Don't just, you can listen to this over and over and over again and, you'll get the general concept of, what Uncle's talking about and how we trying to frame things. But do yourself a favor and investigate it yourself. Spend time studying on it and learning and researching about it yourself so that you too can be a part of the process. And then once you get the process down, you can share that with someone else. I know we're running out of time, but this is one of the most important things that we were talking about offline and discussed today. When you have, my uncle was telling us about how you can become what's known as an authorized user on somebody's credit account. Is basically you're not sharing their. If Devin signed me on as an authorized user, I don't have access to his credit cards. I don't have access to his money. But what I do have access to is his credit history and his good name, like Uncle Derrick was saying to us. And so that is what we're supposed to do. Those of us that have children, that's what we're supposed to do for our children as we're building a good name, as we're building up our credit, as we're, looking to leverage our good credit into business credit so that the ideas and the thoughts that we have that we secretly dream about and think about and nobody wants to be in a 9-to-5. I have this great idea over here to be a fashion designer or author or this or that. Mm-hmm. There's a plan that's been out there forever that all you need to do is lock into it, execute it, and it can happen for not only you, but it can happen for your children. Because you make them authorized users on your account. And if you have children, pretty much who are preteen years and under, you're giving them a wealth of credit history, and a huge head start on life, which, most of us didn't get, not because our parents didn't love us, but because they just didn't know. They just didn't know the information. Right. They didn't know the information that was being shared with you guys today or the information that we're learning about now. So I can't stress the importance of understanding this stuff, then sharing it, and then setting up future generations for success. So that's my main not so much takeaway, but that's the main thing that I want to get across is once we all get this stuff down and we start to understand it, share it, and then set our kids up for success. That's
you said. Share this episode. Remember, morning routines. Take that first 10 to 15 minutes of your morning. Go through your routine, meditate, pray, be grateful about things. Do your morning affirmations. Morning routine is important. Now, might be spending like 20 minutes throughout your day to start doing some of this research. Ask us questions if we don't know. Then I can contact Patton. Patton can contact his uncle. we can all just get in contact, like ask questions, but also start doing some work on YouTube University and Google. That's the next phase, man. Like I said, this is a system, and let's start this growth process now. Thank you, man. Appreciate you being in here.
No problem.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. So,
anybody got any questions on insurance or retirement planning, you can hit me up, 267-702-5376.
And all you got to do, he ain't going to say it again. Just rewind it.
Yeah, rewind it.
Just rewind it, and that's it. But, yeah, guys, stay blessed, stay safe, make moves, move markets, guys.
All right, guys. Till next time.